watching the film Romy is kissed by a woman in a nightclub.
Well, doesn't Romy kiss her?
Anything like this.
You're my baby girl.
I loved the depiction of a power imbalanced sexual dynamic existing within a wider context of, for the most part, kindness and respect. I found that informative. I work for Attitude, the LGBT magazine. I write about sexuality for a living. It's not always easy, and I think anything that starts intelligent conversations, adult conversations about this subject and takes the shame out of it is amazing to me.
Great.
Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, and Helena, our director, would agree. I mean, she was really, this comes from her heart, and so she wrote it, and she totally wants to eliminate the shame from certain aspects of sexuality, and particularly, say, for a woman in Romy, but it's genderless, actually, where, you feel like you're holding all these things in and you can't whisper them or say them to anyone, let alone act on them.
I've just come from the Wicked junkets. Wicked is all about a parent rejecting their child for being other. Nicole, this is at least your third time playing a supportive mother of an LGBT child.
Yes.
Which is lovely. I'm sure you're too modest to recognise this, but do you understand that sets a positive example to people? And that's a nice thing?
I mean, I make my artistic choices knowing what I'm doing. So, yeah, I would hope that. I love to be a bridge Boy Erased was very much, I made that for that reason, so that there was a bridge for families that were not in a place of love for each other.
Watching the film, Romy is kissed by a woman in a nightclub.
Well, doesn't Romy kiss her?
Yeah, that's what I was questioning as soon as I saw it.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch the film again, just precisely to clarify that detail. Do you welcome audience interpretation that maybe there's more for her to explore in terms of her sexuality?
I think Romy's at a place where, and that's what that rave scene is meant to be, where she's just free.
Yeah.
She's sort of, she's been so kind of holding herself together, and that is a release. Helena always explained it as just a massive sort of pounding release. The way in which we shot it, we had the strobe light, it was like a rave. So we had the strobe lighting, we had all the it was crazy because it was so, and the camera, we didn't have a clue where the camera was half the time, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people. We were getting pushed around. It was just like, I didn't want to get trampled. That was my main thrust of the scene, and Harris would catch me.
Well, there was one point where I saw you through the crowd, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like you're like one pull away from like being on the floor.
So it was very, very wild.
What was the most valuable lesson about acting that you learned from Nicole?
Oh God, don't answer that.
No, I will. Can I? Can I? No.
I won't censor you.
Yeah. Cover your ears. No, I from early on, I sort of was always impressed by how much Nicole would try everything and try stuff, and like really was unafraid to just put it out there, which not a lot of actors are, which kind of inspired a playfulness to the set, where everyone was sort of like, okay, we're going to try and make a really, good thing here, and that helps when the person at the top is setting that precedent.
I like to be playful.
Yeah, it's important.
So, Beach Rats, my interpretation of it was it's about a man who has sex with men but rejects labels, asks provocative questions about sexuality. Did that film help prepare you for this one?
I am not sure. I think they're posing similar questions in terms of labels, but different experiences. I think Samuel is kind of wading around in a pool of unsurety in terms of like who he is and how he needs to act. I think he's confused with his own darkness as well, which is something we all need to talk about more maybe, and get help on navigating better.
I loved Babygirl's casual approach to queerness, the contrast between the daughter exploring sexuality at a young age and the mother exploring sexuality later in life, and it having these big consequences. Were you aware of that contrast? Was it deliberate?
No, because I was sort of more coming at it through Romy. So I think Helena, when she was talking about the theme, she was also talking about the way in which the collision of generations and what they're teaching each other,
Yep.
and how the younger generation is teaching the older generation things. And I loved that. I even loved the scene where Esme, Sophie Wilde, comes and says, "I'm not going to cut you down because I need you. There's too few role models for me, and I need you there. So I need you to get yourself together, but I need you to stay on that pedestal for me because you're my beacon." And that was really unusual, because usually a scene like that in the film would be, "I'm going to destroy you." And I liked that. And then I go and support her, and she goes on to, you know,
Yeah.
and not through blackmail.